Shalom, everyone, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. How is everybody doing? Brother David, how are you doing? Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Oy vey, what a trip.
We just came back from Israel, and it was indeed a very, very troublesome trip. When I was there, I was already told that certain places had been cleaned up and closed up, and we can't see them anymore. However, we have been to some really good places, to some really interesting places.
Yeah, like when we went to, I don't know how to pronounce it, Sderot or where?
Sderot, yeah.
Yeah, so we went there, and that place was, I mean, you could still see bullet holes in some walls and so on, but I mean, that's the place where those guys took over a police station, barricaded themselves in the police station, left Jewish bodies all over the ground outside as a means to try and draw people in so that they could shoot them when they come, because Jews really want to bury a body quickly. And so they leave the bodies around so that as people are trying to come take the bodies, they can shoot them. Anyway, they ended up leveling the police stations. That was all rubble, but it was all cleaned up by the time we got there. It's just like an empty lot now, but that had been a police department that was taken over by terrorists and subsequently leveled. But it's all cleaned up now.
Yeah, what happened is the terrorists immediately ran into that. It was one of the first places, one of the first cities that they attacked. They attacked the place. I think I have photos here lined up. They attacked the place. They went into the police station, took it over. We saw a bunch of camera footage of them coming and shooting a police officer, jumping off of their pickup trucks, running in there, and all that. They go in there, and what they also did, aside from simply leaving bodies outside, they planted grenades on bodies or under bodies, and otherwise trapped the whole place. And we're basically expecting the police or the military to go in there and to be trapped and killed. And so what happens then is that these Hamas terrorists are inside the police department's building and waiting for security forces to come. The security forces realize that it's a whole big trap, so they start fighting, and eventually they just decide we have to take drastic measures here. So they start bombing the police station and basically destroying the whole thing and tearing it down with all the terrorists inside. And we saw footage of the whole thing. The whole place was leveled, and now they built a new place to have a new police station. It was, I don't know, it was really messed up to be there. Really messed up to be there. This is a graffiti thing, a painting that they had next to that whole place, next to the police station, basically just by some artists to remember what happened on that day. It has 7/10/23 on here. Says Sderot, and it's just a reminder of the police station, how they brought in a tank to tear the thing down because it was fully booby trapped and all of that, together with the Israeli flag, which has, interestingly, a hole in it, and so on.
Like the narrative about the Quran.
Yeah. Lots of stuff going on here. Here we have some guy who randomly entered the scene and started holding this big thing here, which was used to fire.
Yeah, that's a Hamas thing.
Is it?
Is it?
No, I think.
Oh, no. The other one was the one that looks like a little rocket.
Yeah. You know what's messed up? When we were taking these photos, I didn't realize a pretty bad and pretty sad and pretty messed up detail here in this in that whole scene.
Yeah, you're goofing off, and
and only when I looked at the photos I realized that right there in the corner is a teddy bear that has paint and blood on it, which says kidnapped, with all the hostage photos and all of that. The Tamir interceptor missile operated by Iron Dome. This is one of the. This is an example of one of the one of the things, the interceptors that are fired through the Iron Dome. So whenever in the Israel's Iron Dome defense system, whenever a missile appears and seems to fly toward Israel from Gaza, these things detect it and go off and immediately fly and intercept those missiles. And here is a piece of one of those. This is a messed up reality that Israel decided to just live with for 15 years, or no, for almost 20 years. So in the year 2005, Israel decided to disengage from Gaza, to remove all Israelis from Gaza, and to say, we are out. This is yours. Now show us that you will build something out of this and make peace. Of course, Gaza immediately elected Hamas. Hamas took over, kicked out all of the other parties, and said, no peace. We will fight until we take all of Israel. Upon which Israel said, well, if that's the case, then we will keep a blockade in place and keep it that way until you guys decide to make peace with us and to recognize each other. However, in 2006 or 2007, Hamas already began firing missiles at Israel, especially the southern part of Israel surrounding the Gaza Strip. And what happened is that Israel decided to, well, you know, as long as that is going on, let's establish a very good defense system and intercept all those missiles. Now, some missiles still come through, others are intercepted, and you can some shrapnel drops down and might hit buildings or people. But that is basically what Israel decided to just accept as a reality, and that just makes me think, which other country would actually accept that? I mean, I would expect, if you remove yourself from Gaza, and Gaza then just immediately breaks down all kinds of peace agreements and says, we're just going to shoot missiles at you from now on, I would think, well, okay, we tried it, that's it, and just roll in there and take the whole thing down, take the whole project down. Israel decided to just live with that for 20 years until finally things broke down on October 7th. That is Hamas. That is the Palestinian territories. That's the reality. David.
Hey, yo, what's up?
What did you take away from the trip that we had?
One of the things that stands out is how little they want to offend Islam, or risk offending Islam. And that's kind of in multiple ways. I mean, like the Jewish population, even when we were talking to people whose families are still being held hostage, they're just like that. They'll talk about wanting to get their family members back and stuff. And then they'll say, but we understand this has nothing to do with Islam, and that Islam doesn't advocate killing Jews or taking captives. And you and me are sitting there like, you don't want to interrupt someone who's talking, about trying to get their sister back or something like that. But I mean, it's like, you're still defending this. You guys are defending this stuff. So one, this, like, there's not a lot of hostility towards Islam. They will direct it at Hamas, but not a lot towards Islam. And then even some of you may remember, you had a guy, he goes by the Muslim Cowboy, and I posted, I didn't say a word of insult, AP. I just posted a picture of us outside the Western Wall, and I said, who knows? Right. I said, who knows where we are? And the Muslim Cowboy replied, under my foot. And
very bad idea.
So what did I do? I instantly took a Quran and put it under my foot and posted a picture of that on Twitter. So you get contacted by someone from the Israeli government who said, hey, you shared a thing, and just so you know, if you guys took that picture in Israel and then posted it, that's illegal here in Israel. They didn't say anything about us making fun of Muhammad. They did say something about me putting my foot on the Quran. So I'm wondering what the law actually is. But it was funny. So they say, hey, you should tell your friend to take that down, because if someone sees it, you could get arrested for that sort of thing. And I thought it'd be really cool to go to an Israeli jail, and how that might actually help Israel, because if the Dawa guys find out that Israel locked up the Dizzle to protect the Quran, They might be like, huh, maybe we're wrong about Israel all along. These Jews are all right. So I was thinking it may actually help, but was also thinking it could potentially massively screw up the stuff we're trying to do. If I get even if they lock me up for 2 or 3 days or something like that, it might screw up a lot of what we're trying to do over there. Anyway, so I took it down, soon to be put back up whenever someone annoys me for 5 seconds.
Yeah, there was so David is basically summarizing the whole thing. And it's a very watered down version of what actually was sent to me. And it was like, so the whole thing was not the entire trip, but the most important part of the trip was organized. We were supposed to, on the 20th, go and visit the Gaza envelope, which is the part of Israel that surrounds the Gaza Strip, and supposed to tour that and see much of the sites that were attacked. And shortly after David posted that picture with his foot on the Quran, I get contacted, and I'm like, can you please explain this certain tweet? This can be seen as very inappropriate and problematic and could get us in trouble. And what is this about? If these things continue, then we cannot work together, and all of that. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this was just a personal thing, just something that was going on, just something that was there happening, and all that. And they were like, well, under these circumstances, you can't post these things in Israel. We don't allow these things. It is against the law. And disrespecting somebody's holy book, some people's holy book. This is not something that we that is accepted in Israel. Like,
hold on, this book that calls Jews the worst of creatures.
Yeah.
Don't want to disrespect that book, eh?
That is the law in Israel. That is the law. So they contact me and they're like, what is going on? You can't be doing this. Yeah, by working together, I mean organizing this trip together, and because in order to visit those places, we have to be accompanied by somebody who is there on behalf of the government and who coordinates the whole trip with security forces and this and that. Some of the places that we went to, including Kibbutz Kisufim, which is so the kibbutz system in Israel is like a community system. That these are very well organized, very nice communities that are also that are very close to Gaza. And when we were there, for example, the whole place was full of soldiers, IDF personnel. Everyone was armed, and people who are there, at least a representative who is with us, must be armed at all times in order to be there. So this is a very serious thing. That's why we need the government there to be with us. So when they saw that, they were like, this is not okay. And I somehow talked through that with them for a while and eventually said, you know what, I'm going to tell David to delete it. And they were like, okay, delete it, please. And it's very important that you guys don't do such things while you're here. And I was like, okay. Let's just all calm down. So we did that, and we both did think it would be funny if Israel actually locked us up, because maybe it would be good for Israel. I don't know.
That would be hilarious. I mean, seriously, I'd like to see what a jail is like there. I mean, if they offer me and said, hey, you want to get locked up for 3 days, you won't be in any actual trouble or anything like that, would you like to go to jail here for 3 days? I would totally do that.
Isn't that so interesting? Like, people say all kinds of terrible things about Israel. Like, these Islamists come here like, Israel is against Muslims and against Islam and against Arabs.
And they're like about to lock us up over offending the Quran.
This video is so stupid. This video went viral. I recorded this as a joke. A
total joke.
I recorded this as a complete joke.
By the way, I found out what that is. That's the exit to the Dome of the Rock, but Muslims are allowed to go through there. That's where everyone else has to exit the Temple Mount. So you go up one way, and this is how, because I didn't realize until I exited, I was like, oh, this is where we got stopped the other day. So if you're a non-Muslim, you can't walk up through there. And so they stopped us. They're like, hey, are you Muslims? No, we're not Muslims. And then anyway, we're walking away, and you recorded this.
I published this video, and suddenly it's like bunch of huge
everyone's taking it seriously.
Start reposting this as well, and then people start taking it seriously, and it was just a joke, man. Don't calm down. So stupid. So we just went this way.
We just went there,
and we had to turn back. We were stopped because we were asked if we are Muslims, and of course we aren't Muslims. So we said, no, we're not Muslims.
And they said, turn back. They said, you're not allowed here. Only Muslims.
Only Muslims are allowed here, they said. This is apartheid.
Yeah. People have been saying it's an apartheid state, and it turns out, yes, it is.
It is indeed an apartheid state. This is literally discrimination. I want to go through there, and I can't because I'm not a Muslim. This is apartheid.
It's literally genocide.
Literally ethnic cleansing. Alhamdulillah.
I even said Alhamdulillah in the end. Like it's obviously a joke.
Yeah, and me sitting there, we were literally genocided. And then people, David Wood and the Apostate Prophet complaining.
So ridiculous.
Oh
people.
Oh boy.
I say Alhamdulillah, and they're like, oh, you see, they're complaining now about Israel. And then we arrived in Israel, and here's the thing I noticed. Like, we're walking there, and I see, wait a minute. What is this here? Passport control, Hebrew, English, Arabic.
What?
And then
what?
And then I noticed that this is very common in Israel, and for some reason I never even thought about this until I went there. Until we landed there, I never even thought about it. But I go to Israel. We land in Tel Aviv. There is always Hebrew, English, Arabic, or Hebrew, Arabic, English. Then we go to Jerusalem, Hebrew, Arabic, English. We go to any other place, Hebrew, Arabic, English. We go into the tram, announcements, first Hebrew, then Arabic, then English. We go into the train, Hebrew, Arabic, English. We go somewhere else, Hebrew, Arabic, English. We go to Jerusalem, and we hear the loud call to prayer of Islam, and everybody else has to listen to it. I go to Tel Aviv, and we hear again the call to prayer. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on. So we are told all the time that Israel is this racist apartheid state that is like so anti-Arab and so anti-Muslim that they're basically hunting Arabs down, as Stanley Kikichi makes it look like. And yet these guys have Arabic left and right and everywhere, and they don't even have to do this, but they're just doing it. And I go around and I'm confused, and I ask regular Israelis, I say, so I see that Arabic is everywhere around you. What do you guys think of this? And they're like, oh, we don't have a problem with that. Nobody even thinks about it. Nobody bothers. It's fine. This is part of our life, and we actually appreciate it. But and then I go on Twitter, and people are telling me that Israel is this apartheid state that is racist, where you can't be an Arab and can't be a Muslim. And then I go again to the Israeli person who stands next to me and say, "So you guys don't have a problem with all of this?" And they're like, "No, of course not. We like it. We like having Arabic in our culture. We use it all the time. We engage with it. It's okay. This is good." And then I go back on Twitter, and they're saying they're killing Arabs in Israel. This is just one of those instances where you can see how people talk all kinds of crap about Israel, and it's just when you go there, it is nothing like that at all. Nothing like that at all. And this is only the beginning. As we go around and we speak to more Israelis, lots of Israelis are very much like Europeans in the way that they are extremely charitable toward the other side and have a lot of self-criticism and think, oh, it's probably not about Islam. It's probably not, the Islam issue. It's probably not, as simple as it seems. We should correct ourselves and this and that. Meanwhile, the world is blasting them. Meanwhile, the terrorists on the other side dream of exterminating them. And these guys in Israel have this view, think like Germans, for example. And it's quite interesting to see. Like, on one hand, I admire how much they have self-criticism and how much they don't hate the other side. On the other hand, I'm thinking, dude, these guys want to overrun and eradicate you.
Yeah.
And you are acting like this.
Yeah, it's like the entire country is saying that we want to explain this is not a religious conflict. This is not about religion. Like, Oh, it's about religion, whether you admit it or not, or realize it or not. It's about religion. The others, the people who are against you, it's their religion. So you are under attack from this religion. After I posted that video of myself at the Dome of the Rock saying, "Hey, you guys started this, so now I'm going to talk trash about your prophet."
3.2 million views, by the way.
Yeah, an Israeli Jew posted a comment. I had to think about it, but he said, "I wish we Jews were more confident we're as confident in our own righteousness as this Christian is." And I had to think about it for a second. I was like, because righteousness can have a kind of negative connotation among Christians. Like if you're trusting in your own righteousness, you're trusting that you're good. That's not what he meant. He was talking about like trusting that you're on the right side of things. And he's saying, this Christian is really confident that he's on the right side of things, and that allows him to just go up and run his mouth because he doesn't think the other side has a point as far as what they're saying right there. The other side might have a point in different contexts, but as far as you guys running your mouths when I can run up in the Dome of the Rock and you guys start hurling insults at us and stuff like that, you're wrong. You're the one with the stupid fake prophet, so I'll talk trash to you. But I think that, the point the guy was making was there are tons of Jews in Israel who, even if they believe in the right to defend themselves and so on, they still feel really guilty about how certain people were treated over in the past decades, and they don't want to talk trash. They don't want to run their mouths.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's the issue. That's how bad it is. Here we have a ceremony where a bunch of new recruits are going and joining the IDF. What's very interesting is I found this out when we were there. After October 7, Israel basically called upon citizens and reservists and everywhere to come and support the army, to join the army, and twice the amount of people that they requested joined and signed up for the army. People came to Israel from around the world. Israeli citizens from everywhere came and joined, and many of them are reservists, many of them are on call, others are actively there in the field, in the offices, and so on. It's like October 7 really united these people completely, and it's amazing to see, really.
And it's just not looking good for Islam. I mean, they could still sway public opinion around the world with the dumb arguments they use and so on. I'm talking about the jihadi side. But as far as like, if any of these guys who are actually concerned about thinking that Israel's going to back down from going after Hamas, dudes, you screwed up real bad on that one.
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. I mean, I said it before. Lots of people are aware of it. Some people are still thinking, oh, there will be a ceasefire, there will be peace at some point, Gaza will be, put up again under different circumstances. No, it's done. It's finished. It is done. Hamas will be destroyed. Israel will not stop until Hamas is destroyed. Israel listens to the own population. The own population wants Hamas destroyed. Even those who are totally anti-government just want Hamas destroyed. And the Gaza project is over. It's over. Israel will take control of the situation and will probably make sure to re-educate the population and put a governing body in place that will no longer have the freedom which Hamas had, which would, lead Gaza into whatever direction they want, including terrorism and all that. They gave Gaza the chance to self-govern. Gaza messed it up as soon as they had the chance, and it's over. It's not going to happen anymore. I think it was Netanyahu who said, we will do something completely different. There will be no more Hamas is done, no more Fatah is done. This is done. We will never again tolerate something like this. That's it.
So Hamas is going to be crushed. Gaza is going to be taken over by Israel because they're not going to allow them to pick their own leaders anymore, because the last time they let them pick their own leaders, they went with Hamas. So it's just going to be interesting to watch, because you've got all these student protests every week all over the planet right now, and Israel's not listening to them. So, guys, what happens once Hamas is completely crushed and Gaza has been taken over, and all these Dawa clowns who've been running their mouths nonstop, and they realize you did not help anyone. You did not help any of your people. You helped yourselves. You helped yourselves by getting clicks and likes and so on your stuff you're posting. You did not help anyone in Gaza at all.
We toured this little site of archaeological diggings right next to the Western Wall when we went to Michael Rappaport's bar mitzvah. And what they're doing is the Romans, when they tried to get rid of the temple and signs of it, they, instead of destroying the entire wall, they decided to just bury it under a bunch of construction. And what Israel is doing here in this place is to try to uncover as much of it as possible and find the roots and the history of it again. And it's a fantastic project. What's funny also is I showed a video only a few months ago where Hamas, on their TV channel Al-Aqsa TV, they're trying to teach the little kids in Gaza that the Jews are digging under the Western Wall. The Jews are digging under Temple Mount because they want to make the Dome of the Rock collapse and kill Muslims and damage the mosque because they're evil and so on. What's really happening is that the Israelis are digging here in order to rediscover the history. That's what's really happening here. It's funny.
Yeah, and it's so we went into there and I recorded the entire thing. I don't know how good the audio is going to be. Should be pretty good video, but I was thinking right after we got out, I was like, I would like to go through there again and have this guy hooked up to a mic. But I'm supposed to go back to Israel later this year with a group of Christians, but I'm going to see if I can get this archaeological tour. And it's crazy because you're right underneath like the Western Wall area. There's people walking all over top of you. You're underground underneath this stuff, and it's like they construct all these pillars and stuff to hold everything up. But anyway, I would like to hook that guy up to a mic as he's breaking down what all this stuff is. So guys, this is like earlier layers. It's going down, and he's like breaking it down, and like that's something the Romans made. That was a Roman addition here. This is before the Romans. It's beneath all that. Those are for every person who was killed. They planted a tree, and each tree is a memorial for a specific person.
Here is where they did the same thing and put up pictures of every single person who was killed, and also every single person who was taken hostage, who was captured there. And I recorded a long video, like a 10-minute video or so. I was just walking through this and trying to film almost every photo that is on here. I don't know. It was kind of rough because when I was walking through this, looking through the whole thing, I saw lots of photos of people that I read about. And then there was a photo of Shani Luke, which was like standing there somewhere, the one who was brutally shot and killed and taken to Gaza on the back of a pickup truck, while the Hamas terrorists and the Gazans were celebrating for her because of her death, over her dead body. Yeah, here's a building with a bunch of holes in it. From the kibbutz, we went to this place. You see here a residential place with a bunch of holes. Some online say, oh, this was a Hamas resistance movement. They're heroes. This was a military movement. This was a military operation against military targets. Does this look like a military target to you?
Yeah, we went into some of these places, and it's like little kids' rooms riddled with bullet holes, and like, it's all like little girls stuff. Little girls like dresses and games and stuff like that. And it's like everything's full of bullet holes, and it's like, seriously, there's a military target.
Yeah. Some really, really messed up things that we saw there.
So this is Ashkelon. So that's one of the 5 cities of the Philistines, who that's what in the 2nd century, the Romans, as an insult to the Jews, named the area after the Philistines, who were like kind of Greek invaders of the area. They come from the islands and from mainland Greece and so on, and had invaded. But these are a lot of the people that Saul and King David and so on were fighting. But yeah, I interviewed a Messianic Jew and asked him why he believes in Jesus, and also asked him what it's like to be a Messianic Jew in Israel. It's like, okay, you are a Jewish believer in Jesus in Israel. Who do you consider more of a threat? Jews who don't believe in Jesus or Hamas? And he considered that a no-brainer.
Didn't he laugh at first or something, or he chuckled and then he answered the question.
He thought that was and he breaks it down. He's like, I see Hamas rockets flying over my house. And he didn't say this in the video because he talked about it there. He says he sees the rockets flying over and like landing in the field. He says basically when the rockets start, he looks at them when they start and when they're up in the air, and then he goes to the safe room. That's an interesting feature. Everywhere has safe rooms over there. They're not like American safe rooms, which are meant for if someone comes to rob your house or something like that. You have a room, you go close the door, and they can't get in there, and you can call the cops. These are like bomb-proof safe rooms. They're built into the structure of the building so that even if the building gets destroyed, the row of safe rooms in the building are still standing. So every new apartment built after a certain date when this was established has to have safe rooms inside of it. And so he said, basically what he does is when the rockets start from Gaza, he looks at them while they're up in the air for a minute, and he understands I have to go run and get in the safe room once they are going to start landing. But keep in mind, that's what life is like. That's what life is like over there. It's just these constant, there are bomb shelters everywhere. There are bomb shelters all over the place. And it's just, rockets are firing. Go get underground. Go get in your safe room.
That's true. That's true. It's everywhere. They have safe rooms. They have bomb shelters everywhere. It's very interesting. Like when you look at when you open Google Maps in Israel, you always see wherever you look, it says here like this store, that restaurant, and then it says bomb shelter, bomb shelter, bomb shelter, bomb shelter. You see them everywhere. The map always shows you bomb shelters, and they're always in good proximity, so that if you see something, you can quickly run and put yourself in a shelter. They are not big places. They're not big structures. They are everywhere, so it's kind of difficult. But I think I have a short video where I just entered a small shelter. Wait, the shelter. This is one of the small ones. Shelter. That's all. There were also other ones that go underground and bunkers, right?
And you can see the difference between Hamas and Israel on this, right? They build bomb shelters everywhere for when Hamas fires rockets, so people can run into them and be safe. There are every new apartment or anything has bomb-proof safe rooms that people can run into. It's all about keeping people safe. Hamas digs tunnels, but they've pointed out, not us, they've pointed out those tunnels are for Hamas jihadis, not for civilians. They want civilians remaining up on the surface. They want the civilians to die in the counterattacks.
Yeah.
And so big difference that they're digging tunnels, which could be used to keep people safe from rocket attacks and so on. But they won't let regular people go in there.
They say it's not our responsibility to protect the civilian population. It's not our responsibility. That's the responsibility of Israel and the United Nations. We don't care. We use whatever means we have to build tunnels so that we can fight. That's the heroes, the resistance movement of Hamas.
And by the way, it's amazing, isn't it? Hey, we want to be recognized as a state, and we're the government of that state. Okay, well, governments of states are supposed to protect their people. No, that's not our job. That's the UN's job and Israel's job. Yeah. We don't keep our people safe. Wait, but you guys were elected as the leaders. We don't care about the people. We want the people to die because it's good. It's good press for us.
Yeah. Here's another. They draw nice things on some of these shelters to bring some life into this dark reality. Known as the Kisufim massacre.
and you can see right here, it is located. Wait, why is there? Okay, it's okay. It's shown here. It's right at the border here, right at the border of Gaza. That's the place. It was one of the first places that were attacked by Hamas on October 7th. They killed a bunch of people there and took others hostage. And so this woman is the wife of the guy who was in charge of security in this kibbutz, in this community. And he was killed. He made sure to protect everyone, sacrificed himself, and he was killed by Hamas that day. And she was here to tell the whole story, to explain everything that happened. Was very nice to answer my questions and tell us more than ever. But one very dramatic aspect of it is that as we were here, we heard very loud, very massive explosions in Gaza, which is very close to us. We are here, David. You know, right? So
you could feel the shock. You could feel the shockwaves. You could feel.
Yeah, we are vibrating whenever it happens. And here's one of those moments, for example. This is very dramatic. Like
the real thing that go outside. So all I do is just be with my daughter.
This is the reality there. That's the reality. So,
and what I thought was interesting was just in the course of listening to her, how she slowly adapted to the explosions. Like at first, like because it started even earlier than this, just where she's standing around and stuff like this, and she's like shaking with each one and stuff. And I think like towards the end of this video, she's not moving at all. Like she gets used to it once the attacks start. And I recorded her with you're interviewing her here, and she's basically giving the story. Right after this, I didn't record it because I didn't know if she wanted me to record it, and it was in Hebrew, so I wouldn't know what it was. But she's playing the messages from her husband.
Oh yeah.
And my goodness, what a hero, right? He's leading the resistance. He ends up getting killed, but he's sending her messages and he wants her to be calm. And so he's like completely calm on the phone, and she's kind of translating and stuff. But he's just saying, hey, yeah, don't open the door for anyone. Don't open the door for anyone unless you hear my voice specifically. If anyone else is calling you out to open the door and saying they're, that you're supposed to open, do not open, stay inside. And yep, and he got killed. He got killed fighting.
Yeah, that was basically like he didn't even say what's going on. Just said, "Stay inside, don't open the door." Unless
never said there's a terrorist attack or jihadis or anything. Just hi, yep, stay inside, don't open for anybody. That's what
and the guy made sure to just to leave his family safe and to go around and to make sure that the entire community is safe, and to go and look for everyone and protect everyone. In the process of that, he saved lives, and eventually he was. In a shooting between Hamas, he was killed by Hamas terrorists, and she also showed us the house in which he was killed, in which the killing took place. We have it all on camera. I might have to go through that at some point, but it was pretty rough. And the biggest irony about this is, so kibbutz communities in Israel close to the border. Are communities that are very much it is a small system where a small community lives together. They share everything. They are always in touch with each other. They have a messaging system, always let each other know what's up, and so on. They have their own guns. They are armed. But what is very ironic about this whole thing is that the people in these kibbutz, they are very very compassionate and very, they're peace activists, and they're very helpful. These people spent their years going to the Gaza border regularly, taking people from Gaza who are sick, who need help, taking them to Israeli hospitals, taking kids to Israeli hospitals, bringing them back, giving them all kinds of gifts, giving them food, advocating for more help from Israel, to the government, and so on. Spent so much of their effort and so much of their time making sure that these people in Gaza are treated well and that they can take care of some of the needs of the Gazans. But what happened on October 7th is that Hamas broke in and let in Gazan civilians. And the first people who were attacked and the first people who were brutally murdered, massacred, and taken hostage were specifically these people who spent their lives trying to help Gazans. So their compassion, their help, which they offered, didn't save them. The very people who helped so many Gazans were the ones who got killed immediately on October 7th. That you're somehow supposed to believe that these guys were freedom fighters and all that.
And notice the complete opposite natures of the people involved. Here, it's women and children and civilians. You get inside and go hide. The fighters are going to fight to protect you. You go hide. We'll stay out here and fight to protect you. And it's the complete reverse of Hamas. They'll fire some rockets, then they'll go hide. The fighters will go hide and leave the women and children and civilians in the line of fire, because they want them to get hit, because then they can post the footage and say, see?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I told this to David when we were walking there, because it doesn't make sense to many people how that could happen, how these people, how they help the Gazans, and the Gazans really don't seem to appreciate it and just seem to kill them, first opportunity they get. But it's I know the sentiment, I know the sentiment as somebody who grew up in Germany, for example, among people, among Muslims, for example, among religious Muslims. When people did me favors, when people were nice to me, I was still told, when a teacher was nice to me when I was a kid, for example, I was still told that in the end they are disbelievers, and all they want to do is just to take away our faith and take advantage of us and this and that. So this is the mentality. It's not surprising that if these people go to Gaza and take their kids and try to help them, those kids are helped, but they still learn that the very same people who are helping them are actually just doing that for some ulterior motives, and that they are actually hypocrites and disbelievers, and that in time they also can't escape what will be coming for them. So, and this is what Israelis don't understand. They don't understand hate. They should wake up to it. It's late enough. Late enough. Here's one of those moments. Look at this building. Does this look like a military operation on military targets, as people claim on social media, to defend the terrorists? This is a residential building. This is a residential, peaceful community of peace activists who helped Gazans. This was targeted. This is one of many buildings around here that have holes in them that are completely destroyed. It's quite obvious they were going after civilians. That's what they did. Yep. And you have lots of footage too, where which Hamas terrorists themselves published from these communities, these civilian communities from the kibbutz, where they go around and they shoot on site, shoot into homes. And why do they go in there? The entire purpose is just to kill civilians or to capture civilians. That's it. That's what they do.
Oh boy. So you've got a culture where the men and the women who are fighters protect the people who aren't fighters. And you've got another culture where the men who are fighters run and hide so that women and children get killed. And we're supposed to view the latter as the good guys and the freedom fighters.
That's pretty bad.
You have to be in favor of getting rid of Hamas, but that's actually good for everyone involved. And the people around the world, the Dawa guys and the college protesters who think that they're helping the people of Gaza by cheering for them around the world, you're not helping. What have you actually done? What have the Dawa guys actually done to help the people of Gaza? Nothing. It's the exact opposite. They're the ones who keep encouraging them to keep fighting Israel, which keeps getting them destroyed. So I wanted to point out that, I mean, what a stupid culture. And I wanted to make the point because everyone points out that Hamas is using children as human shields. I wanted to point it out in a different kind of light, that they're actually pagan, because what they're really doing is human sacrifice. They're doing child sacrifice, right? Here's our political cause. We're going to sacrifice children to our political cause. So that's as pagan as you can get, child sacrifice. And so I wanted to point that out and tie it into the story of Jonah, where as much as you hate these people, as much as you may hate these people for what they've done, you still have a moral obligation to try and get the truth across to them, and try and bring them to repentance.
Muslim culture. Where we are. As you can hear, it's like very clearly Islam is being oppressed and suppressed here, and Israel is really cracking down brutally on Islam here in Jerusalem, and making sure that you can never ever hear Islamic stuff anywhere. This is clear sign of apartheid and oppression and Islamophobia. Anyway, so this is you have witnessed it right here. Israel is clearly an apartheid state where Islam is totally not allowed and tolerated, and Arabic is totally suppressed, which is why you can hear the loud azan blasting through the old city of Jerusalem. And you can even hear it in Tel Aviv, which is very funny, which is a Jewish city built by Jews. It was never an Arab place, but yes, you can still hear it over there as well. When we went to Israel, even with my whole pro-Israel stance, I was really surprised by a lot of things. First off, the whole issue with Arabic and Islam being totally tolerated, with Israelis being thinking that Islam is not the problem. I tweeted about this, with them thinking that they can just live peacefully together, with all of them still having hope. I asked many people what they would think about a future where Palestinians would disavow all kinds of violence and genuinely became completely peaceful and thought like them. Would you be okay with them establishing their own state and living alongside you? And the vast majority that I asked said, of course, all we want is peace. This is the general attitude. I must say, I like to believe that I'm usually unaffected by much of the propaganda that goes on against Israelis, but even in this state, I had a little bit of a preconceived notion that Israelis would be justly, angry, and that they would harbor more, hate, and they would be more furious and all of that. I was genuinely surprised with how peaceful and charitable Israelis are toward the other side. And there's something amazing about it. I don't know, because it's like on the other side you have the Muslim perspective that I grew up with, and the constant teachings of hate. No matter what the other side does, always hate. We are supposed to hate them. They are, they are, Jews are evil. You can't trust Jews. We are supposed to eventually eradicate them and kill them, and so on. No matter what the Jewish side does, you just learn to hate them. And then I go and I walk among Israelis, and I see no bit of hate. And even those, and I'm not saying that they don't believe in winning this war and crushing the other side. No, they totally do. It is very popular right now. It's like the population of Israel is focused on going through with this and destroying Hamas and teaching them a lesson and finishing them off and making sure that something like this never happens again, to completely overcome them at all costs. And they are also aware of one thing, which I think they should be more explicit about, which is that much of the world doesn't really care about our struggle that we are fighting right now. Which is why we are supposed to care about it, and we are supposed to finish the job no matter what people around the world say. I think, yes, that's a perfect perspective. Do it, finish it. Despite that, the people don't harbor hate toward the other side. They think it is unfortunate that this is happening, and it's unfortunate that there are civilians who are on the other side who are uninvolved, who are dying as a result of this, and they want it to be over. They want peace. Everyone talks about peace.
Everyone says that the end goal, that the ideal future is one where these populations can live in peace together, where there is a peaceful future where people don't die and don't kill each other anymore. This is their perspective. And I was, to be honest, quite amazed seeing that when I went there, and very impressed. And I felt like, I don't know, it's, I don't know how to express it without being misunderstood, but I feel like these people were like the best people that I've encountered in my life. And I mean it when I say it. And I don't understand why. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of cool people there. And this is something that came out when I was in the discussion with Ron Cantor, who's the Messianic Jew that I had a little discussion with. But I was asking him about how he's treated as a Jewish believer in Jesus, and I was asking about persecution. I was pointing out, hey, there are these videos of Jews spitting on Christians as they go by. He said that is a particular hyper Orthodox sect that is like 1% of 1% of the people there. He says the vast majority of people. He says they're actually interested when I tell them I believe in Jesus. They're like, "Oh, you believe in Jesus? You're a Jew? Why is that?" And they ask him. They sit there and listen, and that kind of lines up. Even when I was talking to Rebecca, who's an atheist and a Jew. But she starts asking like, "Hey, so why do you celebrate Christmas? What's going on with that? And what's your next biggest holiday and stuff like?" So she's asking about what these various holidays are for in Christianity. But it's like, since they don't come from a Christian context, they're a bit inquisitive about Christianity. But I never encountered any hostility. I know there is some. But what happens? You get some like rabbi from this hyper Orthodox sect, and he spits on someone. What do? They say, "You see, this is what Jews do," even though we couldn't find anyone like that. We couldn't find anyone who was slightly mean to us at all while we were there. But something that stood out to me most during this trip was, you've seen the clips of like Muhammad Hijab, and he screws it up. But what he's trying to say when he screws it up is, when he says we Muslims love death, they love life. And they're pointing it out as like a weakness. Ha ha ha, these dummies, they like life and we like death. But you see, it's actually true, but it is not good for Islam in that sense. You go around, even at the sites of the attacks, there were Jews gathered around singing songs.
Yeah.
Like at the Nova Music Festival, there's a group of Jews sitting around playing instruments and singing songs. And I think that's connected to, I mean, they got attacked too, right? So we pointed out, buildings were demolished and so on. They've already leveled them so that they can rebuild. There's this focus on, we're not going to be held back here forever. We're going to deal with it. We're going to crush Hamas. We're going to get whatever hostages are alive. We're going to get them back. We're going to rebuild and move forward. In Islam, it's just that obsession with death is, hey, let's just kill and kill and kill. And we hope we get killed. We hope we get bombed down to nothing. And we want to leave it like that so everyone can see. Everyone can see, look, oh, we got bombed. Look at us. And we can run our mouths about it for the next, 5 decades and never rebuild and never improve. And it's like, guys, why does anyone think that that's a better culture that should be actually in charge of the entire area, including the land of Israel? It's just like insane. Who wants to be under that a culture that is obsessed with death and destruction, even upon themselves? And so that you really see there. The Jews love life. I mean, when we go to anything, I mean, like a bar mitzvah or something like that, or any of it, there's always music playing. There's people are singing and dancing, and they love it. And it's, hey, these are people who have to deal with rocket attacks regularly and so on, and they're singing and dancing and so on. And so anyway, it's pretty interesting stuff.
This is one of the most popular signs in the Jewish culture and in Israel, which is Chai, and which stands for life or alive. And this is the essence. This is like what is a very recognizable, a very common sign in Israel and among Jews. One of the most popular things, actually. When they speak of numbers, like I see it even people making donations, super chats, and things like that. They numerically refer to life. When they drink, they say l'chaim. They say to life. One of the very nice phrases, although not directly related to that, is when they speak of the continuation of Israel, or of the people of Israel, say Am Israel Chai, which means the people of Israel live. And they value life. It is in Jewish culture, it is ingrained, it is a thing that they have this whole idea of, as the Bible says, from dust we come, and to dust we will go. But then the idea in Jewish culture is in between, we live life. This is what we have, and we celebrate it, and we cherish it, and we love it. And yeah, the other side thinks that is bad. The other side thinks that's a weakness. The other side loves death. They love dying, and they love killing. And they think that's what makes them so good. It's what makes them tough. They think they will win because they are not afraid of death, because they like death, not realizing that this is exactly why they will continue fighting and continue eradicating themselves and each other. So this is one of the greatest takeaway that I have as well from Israel, is that Israelis and Jews love life, and that's great. Whereas the other side loves death. The death of Jews, the death of Israelis, and the death of themselves. They are proud to die. They are happy to die, and they are happy to kill, while the Israeli side is happy to save lives and to live. And you know what's funny? People say a lot of things about the IDF, right? About the Israeli army. There is a thing that when you join the IDF, you are supposed to learn, and you're supposed to agree to and remember at all times. What's it called? The spirit of the IDF. I forgot what it's called. I didn't really plan that. I just found it out when I was there, and I was looking through recruitment into the IDF, and I found out something about the ethics of the IDF. So there is a thing that is called the purity of arms. When you join the IDF, and you among that, as part of that, you learn 4 fundamental values in the IDF that you are part of. One of those is defense of the state of Israel and its residents, patriotism and loyalty to Israel, human dignity. The IDF and our soldiers are obligated to protect human dignity. Every individual is of inherent value, regardless of their ethnicity, religion, nationality, gender, or status. This is something that, and the other is statehood. Human dignity. This is something that people who join the IDF learn, that they pronounce, they speak out, and they remember and are remembered of throughout their service. This is not something that is out there, that is published, for the United Nations, for human rights organizations, for this and that. It is something that they tell their own personnel, everyone who signs up to the IDF, everyone who becomes part of it. Everyone must remember it. This is the essence of the values that you are supposed to hold on to if you are part of this. This is not publicity. It is something that every single person joining has to learn and remember at all times. That even when they're in the battlefield and they're confronted with the other side, they're supposed to think, I must do whatever I can to spare and to save lives, and not to go after, I don't know, the other side just because of their ethnicity, their beliefs, and this and that. And these people are maligned by so many people around the world.
If you listen to what the Dawa guys and the neo-Nazis say about Jews, and you actually go to Israel, they're the exact opposite of what these guys say. By the way, when I was pointing this out, guys, I've been rocking my cross for days now. No one spit on me and stuff. And you get all these claims from the Muslims. That's because you put it away, right? And you're not recording and you're hiding it and stuff like this. Or they say they're only not spitting on you because you're recording them. And it's like, guys, I'm not recording most of the time. No one has a problem with it. It's like once they get the idea in their mind and you tell them, guys, the idea is false. I was there for 9 days. I was there on a trip about the same amount of time twice. No one so much as looked at me wrong or showed the slightest bit of displeasure with me having a cross. Again, we know there is a hyper orthodox sect that will spit on people and so on, but that's not people in general. They're not like that. And you're saying all people are like that. And I'm trying to figure this out, because you are the exact same people. The people who say, look, a Jew, here's a video of a Jew doing this. So you see, the Jews, the same people who always tell us, hey, don't associate what this group of Muslims did with all other Muslims. You're the same people who say, if I see a Jew doing anything, and it's negative, I will apply that to all Jews. And it's just, and what the sad part is, you have people who've like never interacted with Jews, never been over there, and they believe that nonsense. They believe that nonsense because they see it over and over again on Twitter. And if you bring up something about Jews on Twitter and people keep posting all videos of people doing stuff, you go, oh, wow, these Jews are really messed up. They're doing all this stuff. Guess what? It's not like that, guys. The incredibly vast majority, not like that.
Not like that at all. On the contrary, they're very friendly, because I think these people are amazing. They have great morals, nothing like anything else that I've seen anywhere else in the world. And to be very, very honest, at some point I began thinking the way that these people are, and the way that Muslims and so many others around the world malign them and unite in hating them, it doesn't make sense. And it almost feels like there is something greater at play, like something more evil at play, like something almost demonic at play, which unites certain people in hating this group of people, in hating this population. It can clearly not be the way. It cannot be because of the way they are. Because when you actually live among these people and you experience the way they are, the very last thing you would conclude is that these people are evil. The last thing you would conclude is that these people are hateful, opportunistic people. That's the last thing you could conclude. These people are amazing. And I don't care who says whatever they want about me and my motives. I don't care what these Jew-hating people around the world like to say. I don't care what anyone says. I love these people, and I think they are amazing.
We were watching extra footage in Sderot.
Yeah, we did. We were a little bit.
Like of the little girl, her mom and dad got killed, and she's wandering around. She doesn't know what's going on. She's 4, and she's like wandering around, like looking for her mom and dad when they just got blown away by Hamas, and just like wandering around this area and stuff like this, like confused.
Yeah. It is on security cameras at a roundabout where they get out of their vehicle and the girl's parents are killed, and she's just out there standing and not knowing what to do.
Yeah, you actually got to see how some of these guys are moving. They show up and there's a bunch of them packed into a car. They kill somebody, then a couple guys jump in their car. They move around, take over another car, jump in there. So they're just spreading out. And yeah.
Oh, there's another one where this happens right in front of the Sderot police station, actually, where the terrorists come, and a vehicle that they see, they start shooting at it and kill the guy, kill the father and the mother, as far as I remember. And in the car, in the vehicle, there is a little baby and the older sister, a little girl, crying. So Hamas was, I guess, merciful enough not to shoot those little ones in the car. But in that vehicle where the baby and the little girl were sitting together with their parents, they shot the parents in front of them, killed the parents in front of them, massacred those parents in front of them, regular civilians who have nothing to do with any army or anything at all. They killed them right there on the spot in the middle of the street, and left the children there crying right behind their dead parents. And the police arrives.
Military target.
And the police arrives, and the girl tells the police officer, and she's brave enough to say, "Oh, they killed our parents, and we're here. It's my younger sister or brother. I don't remember, but I don't know, man. It's just." And then there are people out there, scum of the world, out there defending Hamas and what they did. scum out there really defending Hamas and saying, oh, they were just freedom fighters. They did it for freedom. Rats, maggots, rats, filth. That's what they are. Thanks, everyone. Shalom. And as they always say,
stay away from Islam.
Peace.